Hey everybody, this is Phil Healy, Public Access Coordinator from your friendly neighborhood NorCam, and with me as always is
Jason Smith, Government Access Coordinator.
And Jason, who do we have here today?
Today we have a guest from Winchester. He is the Executive Director at WinCam. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Gauthier.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Pleasure.
Thanks for coming by.
Sure.
So yeah, we usually at NorCam Weekly, I know we were going through the rigmarole with you earlier, off air, off recording. I like saying off air like it's a radio, it's radio, it's true radio. But we were talking about how we usually go through it, and you actually asked a pretty good question: who have we had on here, and who's come by because of this, or just in general to the studio? And it's great. We've had I know we say this every episode, but we had a decent amount of people. We actually had Mel Webster,
I think
committee.
we've done more guest episodes than we have just me and you chit-chatting episodes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And this actually, we missed it last week. Usually this NorCam Weekly just talks about what happens during the week. We missed it last week because of my inherent laziness. And just, I think we skipped it because I forget what we were doing. We were just kind of running around.
Friday was busy last week. So.
Yeah, because Rob was on his way out for vacation. And he's on vacation this week. Yep. And the place hasn't burnt out yet. We're okay. Everything's fine. That we know of. Who knows? But today's been kind of a slow week, and the summer usually is slow. At Winchester, how is
we've been running through the same thing.
Yeah.
Members are trickling in and here and there, but a lot of people on vacation, and we're not seeing the same amount of students that we usually see after school and that kind of thing. So it's been a slow summer.
Yeah, no, and you think, because I try to push all the kids that come here, because we have a production club, video production club that isn't sanctioned by the high school. And it's very well. We tried to go through the high school, and they were accommodating to a degree, but it was just kind of no one cares. You can do whatever you want, as long as it's not sanctioned by the high school. That's essentially what happened. I like John Bernard a lot.
So they have no responsibility whatsoever.
Well, kind of, yeah, and I don't blame him because some of the guys, one of the gentlemen who was helping me out, and this is through public access, nothing happens instantaneously.
Sure.
It's usually it's erosion, social erosion. So it's just kind of you have to break down these just rocks of just people what do you do again? It's oh, well, yeah, this is what it is. But there was one teacher who wasn't a bad guy, but he just wasn't his email etiquette was horrendous. But but I understand if he has all this stuff going on. Because it's nothing to him, really. Because it's just me trying to fervorously be oh, yeah, what's going on? You're telling the kids, you're getting them, you're rounding them up. But we have them, usually the point is we usually have them come by all the time during the school year, but right now everyone's often doing vacation. You think they'd be here every day, but it's not the case.
I find that teachers are pulled so thin these days in the public school system that it's difficult to try to add to their plate, so to speak. So, my approach for whenever I'm dealing with the public school is to always just say, this is what I would like to do for you. And that way, I think they're a little more receptive to that. The less that they have to add to their plate, the better off you are.
I always give them a list. This is what you're doing for me. I don't want any lip.
Yeah, see, that's a bad tack.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, though. Well, my wife is a teacher, too, so I know exactly.
The pain. Yeah,
the pain, yeah. Or just the pain in the hours, too, because it is kind of like a boot camp of sorts. And but I mean, the high school is actually really good because they let me do just go out there, canvas, do what you got to do, and my expectations, they lowered and lowered. My enthusiasm was still kind of up. I was trying to maintain enthusiasm and expectations and have them buoy, and expectations went down. And seesawed as enthusiasm kind of went up a little bit, but also went back and forth, depending on how much you have to do. But what do you find also in volunteers, in your volunteers? Because how does Winchester handle volunteer-based stuff?
Mostly the same. We have different levels of membership. So your individuals, students and seniors, organizations, and we recently added a business membership too. This last year. Figured that's sort of an untapped area. There's not a lot that a typical community media center can do for a business. You can't advertise if you're nonprofit, but you can have informational programs. I'm noticing your piles of DVDs here. I look, see the same ones that we see, that are bicycled. Throughout Massachusetts, you see things like Physician Focus, and that's
great.
That's a doctor who makes money doing what he or she does, but it's also providing informational content that other people can see. So we added that. We noticed that, and I don't know how it is for you guys, but we've noticed that individual numbers have gone down. You know, some of that is that maybe one of your individual members joined underneath an organization, or maybe, you know, they got to a certain age and started paying a senior rate. But it seems to me, at least in Winchester, that the adult member is the one that we're trying to target more than anything else. The kids, I think, sort of gravitate toward it. And what's interesting is we were in the high school up until June of last year, and we have more student members now than we did when we were in the high school, which is interesting. I think that they just like to be somewhere that's other than school. You know, they like to sort of get away from it.
So we can't move back to the high school.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't think I'd like to, but yeah.
I've done both, and there's pros and cons for both. I just think, you know, visibility wise, you know, having something like you have here or something like we have now in Winchester with that, you know, almost storefront location, it's a standalone sort of place. I think that's really kind of the way to go. If you can have a presence at the high school, that's great too, because you're always going to have that constant influx of members. But I think that with the availability of technology for mostly, you know, adults that are into this sort of thing, that care about technology, that are interested in being creative, they have other outlets. It's not necessarily that the public access center is where they need to go. It was the only game in town for a while. Now, you know, everyone carries a video camera around with them. How many of your members, you know, end up maybe they take a camera out, but they edit at home and bring you the finished product?
Yeah, we have a couple. It's part of that is great, and part of that is not frustrating isn't the right word, but just kind of like you're using one appendage of the whole body, and it's like one of the things. And you're right, people have that access to so much, even like the Apple Store or something. They can just go to the Genius Bar or go take a class there or anywhere else. Sometimes even just looking online. But we like to pride ourselves in saying, like, you know, besides working here, we have like freelance experience, like in both Jason and myself, and Rob as well, because his wife is a cutter too. Editing. Let me just specify that.
It's good to clarify.
Yeah. But she's worked in television and in cutting independent stuff, and so have we. We've worked in that field as well, so we know that realm, kind of like that. And people usually in public access have seen a lot. It's seen a lot more. You've seen all, you know, it kind of come through the woodwork, as I'm sure you can attest. So it's tough to kind of battle that sense of, well, what do you need public access for? It's like, well, you need it because it's also, you have a camera in your pocket, or you can go grab a camera too. But for people who don't have that phone that has a great video, you also can get better video here. I mean, we have maybe prosumer cams, and sometimes some access centers have higher end cameras too. Like you have your consumer prosumer, and you have your kind of pro cams. We don't really have a pro cam here. And as much as I kind of levy for one, or just kind of really biting out the chops for it, it's good kind of that we don't have it, because it wouldn't be going out. It would be within kind of, I think, the staff.
Or staff usage, yeah, sure.
Which I don't think is a bad idea. What are your thoughts on that sort of?
We have the same thing.
Yeah. Prosumer
for the most part. The interesting part is we've also started to get into the DSLR realm.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people are into that.
Yeah, that's been around for the past half a decade. I don't know. Well,
5, 6 years.
5, 6
would
years,
it's starting to really
2008, 2009.
Feasible to kind of shoot on DSLR.
It's good to give people more options, and I think the image quality that you're getting from a DSLR, and you know, I'm not a photography expert. You know, I'm sort of old-fashioned, came up with video cameras, so I have a lot to learn, you know, in that realm as well. But you know, our members are already sort of lining up to take that class. As soon as our staff is caught up enough to offer a class in it, we're going to start offering those as well. We have one now, and we'll see, you know, based on popularity, if it starts to, you know, if we need more, we'll add more to that fleet too.
Cool. Yeah, I think we talked about DSLRs at one point too, and I don't know, it's just The prosumer cam stuff works. It's easy to teach. And I mean, like, you know, one camera, you know them all, pretty much. I mean, I still attest that. I mean, there are more features to maybe a pro camera, maybe a bit heavier. But all in all, if you know one camera, you know the basic, like, this is how you deal with exposure, this is how you deal with white balancing, this is how you deal with focus. And, you know, this is where the battery goes, this is where your, you know, media goes. You're pretty much okay.
File transfer has been simplified so much now,
Oh,
too.
yes.
You know,
yes.
everything's on a flash card, and you just, you know, you're either plugging it into your computer or your card reader or whatever. So that transfers out, you know, pretty much the same. If you know one camera, you know them all.
No, it's true, and it all comes down to proprietary software at that point, just like downloading plugins. And we're pretty good at maintaining, like, if the barn burns, pretty much. If people like just because we have the, you know, SDHC cards, flash cards, and a lot of times, like, all right, now don't delete anything on it. Take the whole card and put it on when you edit. It's like, okay, and then I turn my back, and then a second, like, oh, I only brought these things, then I deleted everything else. All right, it's cool. We can work with it.
3 days later.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you know, there's a lot of stuff you can do to, because part of a lot of stuff you can do to recover stuff. Part of our job is kind of fun, is finding other ways to log and transfer. And when stuff goes wrong, what do we do? We're here to be that voice of just like, all right, here's option A, here's option C, here's C25. So I mean, we bring a lot of that experience, and just, you know, I don't know, it's very bizarre because that the logging and transferring, and even just editing systems, which we will have to wean off of. I'm sure a Final Cut Academic, or yeah, or we're on Express for most of our machines. We're on a Pro Academic in our kind of voiceover suite. But other than that, I mean, are you guys still working on Final Cut, or what are you working on? Yeah,
We upgraded to Final Cut 10 last summer.
How is that working out?
We actually find that it's easy to learn.
Yeah.
And it's not. I know it got a bad rep when it first came out. A lot of the functionality had been taken out of the older versions, and a lot of people didn't like it.
I've heard ups and
it's
downs,
too much like iMovie. I don't like the interface. But you know, we find that if you give it a chance, number one, it's perfect for community media because it's so easy to teach. You know, it may not be the same that you're used to as a professional editor. But if you can get over that, it's an amazing tool just to watch things render in the background while you can continue to edit that kind of thing. It saves you so much time. You know, you can start to edit while you're still importing the files.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. You know, we bought the new Mac Pros in order to run
the garbage
it.
cans.
Those are funky.
Yeah.
You know?
But they're quick. They're quick as all hell.
That's
pardon
the
my
thing.
French, yeah.
You know, it has really taken away a lot of that frustration that, you know, members and or staff has had. You know, when you have a long program, say it's a big yearly award show or something like that, it's a 2-3 hour program. On one of those iMacs, and I know because we ran them, you're rendering for, you know, overnight, 12 hours. You know, it may take you 2 days to master a program by the time it's all said and done. Now it's, you know, with these new things, the processing speed is so fast.
No, it's true. And you hit the nail on the head with programs. Programs being that long, especially like we cover, obviously, the Board of Selectmen and School Committee. That's contractually like what we're obligated to cover.
Yep.
And we put graphics on it when we bring it back in. We play it live, and then, you know, we bring it back and we stick some graphics on it. Board of Selectmen isn't the worst because it's still recorded to a DVD when it's recorded. So, I mean, that's just DV footage. But our school committee usually is on, if it isn't remote, we use our, ProSummer HD cams. Like, that'll take some time to render if it's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. But school committee is actually usually pretty short. But we actually have, now we go to Aja, like a drive recorder that we have, because we have that roadie guy over there. I don't know if Jason showed you that piece.
That big giant.
But it's a monster over there. That's actually our remote setup for the distance learning lab in the new school. And that'll go right to Apple ProRes. And so, you know, which is great because it's, you know, great format. And actually, weirdly enough, we've had a workaround because Academic doesn't necessarily have that in its repertoire as a as a codec that it supports, but it still plays, and we're still able to edit it. But it takes a while. It takes a long time for that when you put graphics over it, because you're essentially doubling the render time and the video. So yeah, with like a garbage, the trash can.
It really has made life a lot easier.
Cool.
It really has. You know, if you're taking, a 1-hour program and want to master it to DVD, it takes half an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, whereas before, okay, well, I'll be back in 6 hours, or I'll just look for it tomorrow because it's never going to be done. And it just, to be able to be more productive is attractive, I think, when you're trying to attract members and let people know, okay, it's an instant gratification sort of society.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what we're fighting against, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right. I think part of it, and Jason can, I'm sure you can.
What exactly?
Oh, no, just in general, like, you need to go through this and you need to check this out. It's like, you want to get this done right? It's like, yeah, I guess. It's like, but I
wanted to do it now.
Yeah.
If I do it on my phone and I have an iMovie app on my phone, or I can just edit it on YouTube.
Yeah, which is weird because it's like, I don't know,
Well, that's part of the problem with the kids in the video club, and they love to come in. They love to do the short 2-minute like videos that are funny, but getting them to do like a full half-hour show sometimes it's like twisting an arm.
It is twisting.
Try to teach them the right way, a 3-camera shoot in the studio or something like that.
Yeah.
They're not used to that. They're used to, we did it, there it is. Now everybody can look at it.
Yeah.
So to me, if you're improving productivity, you're making yourself more attractive as a station.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, it definitely is the way to go. And who knows, because we have, we actually spent a lot of our budget on helping with the school and cameras and moving the iNet hub, because that was a huge thing as well for the past year and a half. Because the school project definitely was, I don't know, we definitely put a lot of effort, both time and money, and our expertise towards it. So,
but I think that's where you make yourself really valuable to your
of course,
municipality as well, because you think about it, who do you actually serve?
Yeah.
You're here to serve, the number one, the town, and number two, the cable subscribers, really, because they foot the bill.
They're the people, and people ask me all the time, like, oh, so you get money from the government or town? It's like, oh, no, we actually get it from, this is where I'll support this company kind of thinly. But yeah, no, we get, because their hand is forced to give us money by the government, so technically. We're paid by cable subscribers. And a lot of people ask that, actually. They'll come in and they'll kind of presuppose that, it's something that it's government funded, which there are there are funds, available, and grants for public access and all that, but there were a lot more. But I think they've been taken off the table in the last decade or so.
It's more difficult to find grant money out there than it was, say, 10 or 15 years ago. I think everyone feels sort of the financial constraints. I think the national financial health has gotten better over the last few years, but there was a time where economy-wise we were all a little bit in trouble. And the other end of that is that there are so many worthy organizations that are competing for funds that are available as well. And so it's difficult as an organization, at least I feel this way, and I have to say that I'm sort of stealing this idea from our board president, because she was the one that sort of brought it up to me. When you talk about fundraising, if you're an organization that has a steady income stream, it's almost unfair to be competing for the same, charitable funds that other organizations really need. To me that always sort of rang true.
Yeah, no, it's like it's sticking your hand again in the coffers. It's kind of like that one thing, like, well, you've had your bit. It all depends, like how big the town is. And that's part of it, because I forget how big I think 15,000. I forget how big North Reading is. It isn't that big.
Yeah.
So how big is Winchester? A larger town, or is it roughly the same?
Probably slightly larger.
Yeah.
I should have looked up the population
No, I
numbers
don't.
before I came
We don't
in.
know. No, that's all right. We shouldn't ask for specifics, especially
No,
on a Friday morning.
It's
numbers.
it's a small town, but I find that if you're looking for a grant, sometimes it's good to have specific projects in mind.
Yeah.
So, for example, we applied for a grant from a charitable organization in town, and what we wanted to do was add a fourth edit bay, as a fourth edit machine as an instructional edit machine. So what we did is we bought those 3 Macs, and it's sort of a very similar setup to what you guys have here with the Carols. So there's 3 in a row, and then what we did is we added a fourth in the same room, and mirrored the output display and mounted displays over them.
Oh, nice.
So now the instructor, and Suzette Ferdinand, who's our training and production coordinator, she does all the classes, and she can sit there and she can demonstrate on the fourth machine. And the members or students can come in, they look up and see what she's doing, and then they can look below and just replicate that on their own monitor. So it's a pretty good setup, and we got some grant money to help defer some of that cost as well. So I think when it's something that you can say this is definitely going to benefit the town, and the people that come in to take these classes, I think people find that it's worth chipping in a little money for that.
Yeah, no, and we tried with our water balloon fight escapade, but it didn't really. We just want to have a giant water balloon fight. Denied.
No kids allowed.
No kids allowed. Yeah, exactly. With a Z, obviously. Yeah, no, that's we don't, like, with us here, it's almost very mon pa-y, kind of, as you probably feel. Maybe the building lends to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's also, we're very one-on-one. If we have more than one person, there's Jason and I. There's only 3 people here. I'm astonished every time, like, oh yeah, there's only 3 of us, and it's just kind of like.
Now, how do you deal with people in the town that say, well, can NorCam come and cover this? And having to explain that there are only 3 full-time people here.
That's the first thing that comes out of our mouth, but it's definitely, we run on a volunteer basis where it's like, if we can find somebody to come in and do it, perfect, and we'll reach out, and we have like a set group of people that we'll reach out to, and we always offer that if you can volunteer somebody from your own group to come on in, and we'll teach you how to operate the camera. But
yeah, I think we're all facing that. It's difficult.
Yep.
To me, but doing everything is taking the easy way out. That's the way I've always looked at it.
They need to learn how to, like, that's part of your job, is to be like, and one of the spiels I always throw, it's like, we're like the library. We'll show we'll show you the books and everything around, but we won't do it for you. And we actually have a great relationship with those guys too. They're really, because they're literally right over there. But no, and you're right, hit the nail on the head. The part of our reason, and this is actually harkens back to your earlier point about, well, whether or not we're are we relevant? Well, we're relevant because we also should be a media deconstruction agency. We should be able to tell you, yeah, this is how that works. Like, what's being thrown at you, it's not, this isn't real, and this is how this is how you handle social media. This is how you handle all these apps on your phone. This is what they're doing, and this is what the video means, and this is the science behind it. And for people who want to have that quick fix, sometimes we should give them a rundown, like, here, blah 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 blah. But if you want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, we're also here as well. So but it's weird because some people catch on to that, and some people like kind of shy away slightly.
It's odd because some people do want that instant gratification, but then some people will look at you like an institution for higher learning, and they want really structured classes, and they want to know everything there is to know. Yeah. And you have to be able to be flexible enough to cater to all of those people. So offering things that are real quick hits, often running type of classes, real quick workshops, and then you build your more advanced classes for those who are looking for a little more knowledge.
Yeah, no, it's true actually, and that's the way to go about it. You try to get them in, and then you kind of test the waters, and you see where it goes from there. But we've had a decent. It's weird. I'm happy for the people we have. I haven't been personally as aggressive as going, like, writing more emails. I've put together an email list where I just want to like, all right, and maybe today actually, just to attack and just be like, maybe I shouldn't use the word attack on the podcast, but no, but just to like let people know we're here, we're still here. This is what we're doing. Here's our podcast, because I'd like to get the podcast out there to them as well. Because Facebook's good and all, but it's only as good as
as many likes you have.
Yeah, and if a tree falls in the forest, if you don't send out a press release, does anyone hear it? And that's kind of like how it goes. But
those things are always difficult nowadays because traditional press is nice, but you guys are a lot younger than me. When was the last time you picked up a newspaper?
Well, I mean,
other than for the town itself.
Other for the town, I mean, no, I mean, because I would just go and read. Because also I'm cheap, and it's just part of like. I mean, I have like when I go into the city when they had the Metro was free, right? That was when they would hand that out.
They had a good crossword puzzle.
Actually, and I knew people at the dig, so I would grab that. I forget if that was free or not, but no, I don't. I actually used to be paperboy too, so it's just kind of that thing. I remember reading papers. I remember going after my dad still gets the Sunday Times, and he has sacked up. But I'm also. Yeah, we're from like that kind of like bridge gap. I'm 32 and Jay's 28, right?
28 for another month.
Another month, yeah, that's right. So we're on that bridge of between analog and digital, where we had newspapers and we had VHS, and then went into DVD, then into just kind of the purely digital domain.
And that was pretty painful because I lived through that in community media. When I first started, it was 3/4-inch tape and half-inch tape and super VHS and
super
those kinds
VHS,
of things.
That's VHS. Yeah.
When I learned how to edit, you learned tape to tape.
Yeah.
So it was so destructive. If you there was the tracks that were on the tape. If you blew a hole in the control track, I mean, you had to start all over. And it was just. Every time you dropped that VHS signal down a generation, it was so destructive to your signal, and and honestly, I have a theory about this.
Oh yeah.
When the community media centers were sort of first became a regular thing in everyone's city and town, everyone used the studio. And there was a lot more camaraderie. There was a lot more community. I'll work on your show if you work on my show. I'll do your camera, you do my sound. You know what I mean? Because everybody wanted to do everything what we called live to tape. 3 cameras, graphics, everything was done. It was in the can when you were done with that half hour. Why? Because no one wanted to edit.
No, it's still no one likes it, and like that we throw it out there like, hey, why don't you just shoot it and we'll put something together.
Now everything is so much easier. I think it has become a lot more impersonal. There's less of a community sort of thing. I can handle, maybe I'll pair up with 1 or 2 guys, but I can shoot this whole thing myself and then post it, and I don't need 5 or 6 other people to help me with my program. That part of it, I miss a little bit. I don't miss the bad technology, though.
But that...
tracking.
Yeah,
you remember tracking?
Yes, of course.
Bad tracking?
The V-hold on this is a little weird.
Yeah.
The vertical hold. But, but tape to tape, and I want to try to get more into this. I haven't been as stringent with the kids. I want them to... we were talking about this for our camp we're looking to have next month, where we have the kids just like edit in tape, or they shoot something. You just shoot your story chronologically and construct it there, and you're going to have to not run the tape the whole time like you maybe would do if you were going to do something that was non-linear. I want you to do a linear story, and I want you to do it so it's as if you were doing tape to tape.
It's good for them to learn that.
Yeah, basic structure, and it's important because the fragility of just kind of like basic.
Plus, it forces them to plan every shot before they do it.
Yep, exactly. It was a cut, measure twice before you cut kind of deal.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, that's I don't know. It's been pretty. It always is interesting. The communal aspect. I don't know. What do you think about that, Jason? I have my own thoughts, but what do you think of that?
Well, definitely. I was at the tail end when I started noticing public access, so it was definitely kind of do unto yourself kind of deal. Sorry.
No, I just as close as you can.
But yeah, but like I definitely remember like those shows on television where it's like, wow, this seems like it was an event to like happen at the station where, you know, everybody showed up and hey, we're gonna do this 5-person shoot, and but that doesn't seem to really exist that much anymore.
Even when we have some people who come in, and even back to an earlier point, you were talking about businesses coming in making a show. We have a show called Priceless House from realtors in town. Very nice. And they actually, 20th Century, I forget the name of the O'Neills. Dennis O'Neill, I believe, is one of the prime realtors. And they're great people. And they're pretty much, I remember the first time we went through it, like, okay, now you can't, this isn't an advertisement. You just have to, it's informational. And they were good about that after everything was kind of laid out. But yeah, they come in and they kind of do it, and they had their crew that helped out. And they just kind of left. It was just kind of within their purview too. It was like their company. But even then, like it's communal to a bit, but it isn't like you don't have other people coming in and doing all this other stuff. So
right.
it's like
it's difficult if someone comes in and says, "I'd like to get a show going," and you as the staff have to sort of say, "Well, how many friends you got? Are you married? Would your wife do it to it? It's you have to, And it's a little tougher in this day and age too, because you can't just give out your members' contact information to everybody and say, "All right, we'll start making phone calls and see if you can put together a crew."
Well, that's kind of the thing too, because we have to be like, "Oh, how do you feel about us emailing other people or giving out emails?" But that's why, like, a members list or like Facebook. But Facebook is weirder because it seems more whinier. In a way where it's just kind of like, we need more people to help shoot this, and they're like, yeah, all right, guys, what do you do over there? It's like, well, we do a lot of things. There's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
And it's like we can't do it all.
You can send all of those. You can send the crew calls out. You can send emails, all of that stuff. To me, I find until you actually reach out directly to that person and say, "Can you help us?" and they will say yes or no, and then that's how you're going to end up doing it. Most times people they'll look at it and go, "Well, that sounds it. Well, I'm going to click on this next email."
Exactly.
And then it gets lost and it gets forgotten. That's what we're dealing with. That's the society that we live in. We all kind of
cut through the noise, man. You
Yeah.
just have to cut right through the noise. And I think a personal touch. I mean, it's like the door-to-door salesman. You have to be that person. And part of me really loves doing it because I am kind of a BSer in that beautiful sense. And I do, like, as part of a producer on personal projects, like, that's part of your job, is to go there and kind of massage the idea and kind of get people almost, be manipulative in that sense, in a positive sense, where you have to be like, listen, we need you for this. What can we do to help each other out? Like, what do you want to do at NorCam? What do you want to do in order, you do this show, we'll help you cut, and, you're here to learn stuff. So, I mean, come on in, man. It's a give and take relationship, just like anything else.
Yeah, I agree. I think, above all, we're in a social business. We're in a community business. That's the bread and butter. If you don't have people coming in and out of this place and utilizing it, what are you here for?
What's the point? Yeah.
And it brings up that question of, the future of community media and what will become of things. Well, I mean, to me, I always think as long as there's a First Amendment, you're going to have some sort of it. You can't say, okay, now all of those government meetings that we've been recording and streaming and doing, we're not going to have that anymore. You can't go back on that service. You can't. Those things need to be recorded for the sake of accessibility and for the sake of archiving. So, somehow you exist. But does this community part of it continue to thrive? That's, to me, is sort of the pressing question. And if you're not doing the job of getting out there and being part of the community, making yourself invaluable and a part of the, in your case, the North Reading community, that's when you start to fade. And that's what's really kind of scary.
No, I think you're right, and we at times are in danger of that. I think we're good cave trolls and we're good sociable. I mean, we're a good combo because we can be in here and just be in here and cut and self-manage the actual station. You know what I mean? I mean, this week I've been doing just a lot of like archiving stuff. As you can see, this huge melange of programming. And just like getting stuff off our servers and cleaning stuff off. So, I mean, it's a good clean out. But, I mean, part of it, what I love to do is also, when the kids come in, just talk to them, okay, let's watch some movies. Let's talk about movies. Let's get this stuff in your head. and what do you want to do? What do you want to cover? And we have one of the kids who wants to do an internship, and our executive director is like, you know what, we need to get them more involved in the community. We want them, they can do their own personal thing, sure, but I would rather, and I want them to go out there and do something on the town. I'm like, he's right. We have to go out there and get more inside and to all these other events as much as we can, because that's the one thing. And I know I know we're kind of going on ad nauseum, but with only 3 of us, it's kind of like. And we're not all working at the same time. It's like,
of course, yeah.
Yeah, Rob is working 9 to 5 every day, and we're here noon to 8 Monday through Wednesday, and then 9 to 5 Thursday and Friday. So it gets a little tougher, but we do okay. But how many people are on with you at Winchester?
In the staff?
Yeah.
3 full-timers and right now 1 part-timer.
So you're in the same boat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think another really important thing to foster is community partnerships. Yeah. So you talk about, getting kids out in the community, getting your members out in the community. That's why I think reaching out to other organizations and asking them what kind of service could you use. One thing we're doing this summer is a PSA contest. And we figured that's a good way to get the community involved. It's a good way to get some good programming, and it's a good way to keep the members engaged. Okay, so we pick out a few prizes that we'll buy, and we say, okay, pick out a nonprofit in Winchester and do a 30-second or 1-minute spot on them. It could be WinCam if you want. If you don't want to go to one of these other nonprofits, you can do it on us. But just enter the program. So I think those partnerships are really important too. And having a good relationship with a lot of the different nonprofits in town, that's a good way to sort of root yourself in the community.
Cool. Yeah. No, definitely. And I don't know. That's great. We're running. This is actually one of the longest ones we've had too, and it's great. No, but I mean, it's good to have another public access guy in here. But also, I guess quickly, Mass Access, because I've heard you're a part of Mass Access.
Yeah, I'm on the board at Mass Access. It's been about 6 months, so I got elected in January.
Cool.
And I'm currently the membership chair, so I'm usually the one that's dealing with new members coming in. Mass Access is we used to be a part of the Alliance for Community Media, the national sort of guard dog for community media across the country. And we do a lot of that. We're no longer necessarily an affiliate of the ACM. We're just sort of our own organization, but we're doing a lot of legislation.
Yeah, okay.
We're trying to get a lot of the Massachusetts community media centers together, talking about issues. So we're dealing with. We had our conference back in April in Springfield. We're planning on some mini conferences this fall to get people, like-minded people, together and discussing the issues that face all of us, just in sort of small breakout sessions, small discussion groups, rather than having demonstrations. So it's very important, we feel, that there's strength in numbers. And there's that camaraderie, and you get together and you're lobbying. You're trying to reach as many legislative folks as possible, either local, state, or federal. You got to get to these people and let them know that this is an important thing to your community, and you got to let them know that if this comes up, you need to be a supporter of this, and don't take the side of the big cable companies. Take the side of the small people, your constituents. They like having this service. This is something that is sustainable, and this is something that is noble. This is something that is part of the community and something that's important to the community. So trying to reach all of those legislators and let them know that this is something that that they should be supporting. Is very important too, and that's one of the big things that Mass Access does. So,
great.
Be looking for those, those mini conferences that we're going to do this fall. It's something that is going to be for staff, for board members, and even for members and independent producers. I'm sure that there's going to be something for everybody. So, if you're not on the listserv, you can also you can email me, davidg@wincam.org. or you can go to the Mass Access website, which is massaccess.org, and you can sign up for the listserv there, and that way you're in tune with whatever's going on. The one more thing that I will mention about Mass Access is the file sharing. The mass media exchange, where members can upload and download all kinds of local origination programming that's from all over the state, and that's been really successful too. There's the governor's office uses it quite a bit, so you can follow the governor and what he's doing. It's a great place rather than having to burn a bunch of DVDs and mail them all out. You know what I mean? You can upload to that, and then anybody who's a member of Mass Access, can grab that and download it, and it's a good resource. We're all looking for programming, so it's a great thing.
Looking to fill those slots, and it's great. Well, thank you again, David, for coming by.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
No problem. We're actually just going to close it out with any business we have at NORCAM.
Let's see. Government channel, basically all the major programs kind of rotated over. So new In the Fight, new Your Federal Government, Consumer Affairs, and then a new RMLD meeting.
Yeah, we public access. We're on this. I think Schedule B, the binary schedule of the A and B schedule. We're at B right now, for every 2 weeks, and not a lot of new stuff. But I'm trying to think what is going in there. Some actually new movies that didn't get in for the 4th of July weekend. A bunch of Army movies from the Internet Archive, which is a great place for public domain. And one of the great things I love about public access is just kind of like treating it like a UHF station at night. That's what I enjoy, and that's kind of the fun. The lady from Chungking, I think, is one of them, and there are a couple other gems in there. But also, we are we're doing podcast classes upon request, camera classes upon request. Usually, we have stuff thrown up, like if you want to come by Wednesday evening or not. But if you just email us or call us at 978-664-0501. or email me, phil.healy.norcam@gmail.com. Very confusing. phil.healy.norcam@gmail.com. And then there's Jason with
norcamjason@gmail.com.
Yeah, I definitely differentiated. And there's you can always email our executive director, Rob Carbone, who's on vacation right now, but you can email him at norcamrob@gmail.com. And Norcam is NORCAM. And you can find us on YouTube.
Yep.
Just type in
NORCAM.
Yep. And you'll find us. We're the NORCAM one, and we're still getting information about this mysterious third incident of what was
Mr. Max Headroom.
Mr. Max Headroom. Weird stuff. But yeah. And I'm also looking. Anyone who wants to just submit any little video, we're looking to get to. I think it was 5,000 because we're at 4220 or 4230. 4,230 videos, and we're trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the year. I want everyone to, any type of video you have, come over here. We'll upload it. We'll put it up there. So just throw it out there. And, nothing. It's pretty slow around here right now, but feel free to come down and hang out. Thank you guys for listening. David, once again, thank you for coming. And, check all that stuff out, and we'll check you next time.